I was kind of in a business limbo because I wasn't sure whether I wanted to go back in the car business or was I going to start something totally new. I realized I wanted to come up with something, like I was from the era of like, I turn on the TV and they would talk about the Cabbage Patch doll and how people were like riots in the stores over this doll, and it was always, damn, can I come up with something that people just go crazy over and just want so bad, and I own it, and they're lining up around the block to get it? Like, what was that thing? What could I do? And I remember, like, I also knew that if I could come up with something that I was as passionate about as I was about basketball, that I could be successful. Because what would happen was, like, there was like a conflict in me. I was still playing a little bit in local tournaments and things like that, and you know, if there was something I had to do business-wise and then there was a basketball game at the same time or something like that, there was always that fight. Now, how could I do this and also play? Be the only one out there in the park like I used to do as a kid, except at this time, because I was in the car business, I was driving a lot fancier cars. You know, I was going to that park in a convertible or T-top something, but I'd be out there by myself shooting and just like thinking, because as I say, I was in a conflict at that time. I was in a limbo, but that court was like a place for therapy. And I know a lot of people say that, but that was therapy, and I used to call it therapy. And I used to go out there and shoot every morning. It was all the way down the Sunrise Highway every morning. And just think about what I was going to do. And the key was, what could I come up with that I could sell the world versus cars that I was selling individually? What was that Cabbage Patch thing for me? And I can remember one day coming back from the park, and as you come down the Sunrise Highway, you got to go past the Sunrise Mall, Green Acres Mall, right there in Valley Street, New York. And it was crazy because all of my thought process had to do with complicated like things to be the next business. It was like, okay, I was overthinking it. I was really trying to think it had to be like the better mousetrap or whatever. But it's funny, at that time, there was like an explosion in the apparel industry. And what was going on was the hip hop influence was really hitting the apparel industry. So bold colors and bold logos and things were coming out. And I was always into silhouettes and designs and stuff. So we had from cross colors to Carl Kanai to Fubu. Fubu was just coming out. I think Fubu was a little bit later there. There was Walkaway, and these people were starting to, as designers, and I had no design background, but as designers, their stuff was in demand. I mean, it was really the hot stuff in the street, and it was all being sold in that mall in Valley Stream. In Queens, you either went to the Valley Stream Mall, you went to Jamaica Avenue. Those were the places where you went to get your hip hop wear and to get those brands and get those things. But in all of that, there was never anything. Oh, there was a couple others. There was No Fear. No Fear had a tremendous impact on me. Because it was two words, no fear, and it made a statement. Anybody who wore that, it made a statement, but it was kind of a statement that was made for the skateboarding community. So it was no fear. There was a lifestyle that went with the brand you wore on your chest. But what was missing from this world for me was a brand for the basketball player besides Nike. Nike was everything. It was sneakers, it was soccer, it was basketball, it was football, this, that, and the other. But what were the brothers in the street or the sisters that were playing street ball? What was our symbol? What did we have? We didn't have nothing. We either had to wear Nike or whatever, and one hadn't come out yet, and there was, there was a void. So as I'm driving down the Sunrise Highway and I get past Valley Street here, a song comes on the radio. And the song is Teddy Riley, Rex and Effects hit, All I Want to Do Is Put My Zoom, 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 and the boom, boom, and shake your rump, whatever the words are. So it was crazy because I had just the night before saw a special about Teddy Riley that talked about how he was a classically trained pianist and a stellar musician and can do this and do that and just played several instruments and a genius. That was the word. Teddy Riley's a genius. And I'm like, genius? But his biggest hit is All I Want to Do Is Put My Zoom, Zoom, Zoom. I said, this is ridiculous. And then the light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, Eric, you're overthinking it. People want simple. They want zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. They don't need the operas and the orchestras and this, that, and the other, and the string music and all of these fancy or wonderful things that this young man could probably produce. They want zoom, 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 and a boom, boom, and go to the bank.